Okay, good evening to all of you. I'll start the session. This is the on totally the awareness session on your subject before we are starting our for December 2026 the examination focused the sessions. Then this is I guess really helpful for you all because you know these things before you know your paper, before you know your subject, then you have to know these areas because it is giving a particular sound background for you to learn and understand and to go your path. Then where you should be, you have to pass this. That's the only thing which you should have in your mind when you are starting this one, not this subject for any other subject. Then you should have that mindset because you have to why today you are it's joining for this for you to complete this particular the subject. Then that is the reason. Then therefore with that aim, then this session it's providing the overall understanding of the subject and students what is expected from y'all at the examination. Okay, I think the slide it's shared, screen shared, and my sound is audible for y'all. And then if there are no any issues, then we can continue. And if you have any issues, we have the chat box. You can put your messages to chat box. Then after that, I will answer for these questions. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay, then this is the subject. It's a strategic tax planning. Then how am I going to do this one? First, I need to give the insight of the subject, and I need to go for entire curriculum and take you all through the what are the areas which will be for your area, study areas in near future. And after that, I need to come for the papers, which the pilot paper and the 21st June 2026, the paper which we had in for June 2026 paper, then that particular nitty-gritties I need to come. That's how it's going for session. Then for this particular subject, first thing what you all need to do, it's a from the name itself you have to identify this is strategic tax planning, your SL-4 strategic tax planning. This is not just calculation oriented. Don't expect 30 35 marks, 15 20 marks calculations in this paper. You have there are calculations, but in that calculations which is you have to do the from the for scenario there is a question, the problems, there is a problem given for you to resolve for that problem. Then through specific some calculations you have to do the calculation and you have to conclude, you have to give the justification, the rationalization of the answer you have to provide through that calculation. Other than that, you need to support your answer through the calculation how you are going to solve the problem. That is a framing of the computations, but not the number crunching. If you wish to have a paper with numbers for you to calculate, then this is not a paper like that. And therefore, please have in your mind as the first thing, this is not a calculations oriented paper. This is a law. We have Income Tax Act, Inland Revenue Act, we have VAT Act, we have SSCL, which is Act, and again there are the acts which is maybe as relevant, the Money Laundering Act, like that. Then on these particular laws, for a given patriarchal scenario, as a problem, there is a problem of your company at a board level, there is a question, the problem, the tax related, how you are going to solve that. That is a mechanism, that is the which is a translation you have to do, not the number crunching. If you are expecting to have a paper for the calculations and computations, then this not that paper. That's the first message which I need to give. From the name itself, it is a strategic tax planning. For me to plan tax, yes, I need numbers, but rather than it's a numbers are my outcome. Then, sorry, numbers are my output. From my output, I need to go for the outcome. Okay, and with the outcome and the recommendations and conclusions. Okay, now come to this. This is the what is the background of this, your pillar business environment, law and taxation. Then there's a module, it's SL-25 for the strategic tax planning. Curriculum name, all these are given in here. This is your big the way of the interpretation of the curriculum, but as necessary I have taken these points to this summary, which is the module name in summary. It's a core focus is on the technical emphasis. Please understand, you're learning, you're interpreting a law. Law, it's a Inland Revenue Act, VAT, SSCL, and any other relevant laws. Then for you to interpret that law, then you should have to have the knowledge of that law. Now, first thing is that you should have that knowledge. If not, how you are going to apply? From using what tool you are going to resolve the problem? Then therefore, for you to resolve the problem, you should know the law. That's the first thing. And the skills development. From this, you have to develop your skills. The first is the technical skills and the application skills. How, for a given scenario, not just write in mere theory. No theories. Don't expect you to take theories. Then you have to go for in depth of that practical scenario, and you have to apply for that. But for that, what's the base? What is the frame you have to apply? Then that is the technical knowledge. Using that technical knowledge, how we are going to solve the problem through that given scenario, not on hypothesis, but on that given practical scenario. And then the strategic preparation. You have to look at, we have operational level issues, we have strategic level issues. Then in that situation, for when it comes to tax, even it is operational level issue, it can lead to the situation where the strategically company is going down, because tax is a cash outflow. Then we have to plan for that. Now you should have to have that strategic focus. Then that's why this is designed for the C-suite level, which is for a C-suite level is a CEO, CFOs, then CEOs, then for that positions, then at that level persons, how you are going to be a consultant, how you are going to be an advisor, then that's your role. Then this is on the focus. I'm repeating these things. Don't misunderstand the subject, because you should have to have a clear idea of your subject. Then before if you need to swim, you need to know what's the depth of that river, what's the depth of that or water level of that particular place. You have to know. Then this is that part which I am which is communicating to you. And next one, I'm using this because I want to if the highlight color, then I want to do the things. Therefore I'm not going for a full which is in the slides mode. Then module name. Module name is what's the core focus? It's a comprehensive understanding of tax and legal principles. For what? This is what you are going to do for business continuity and the growth. Then in this business continuation, that's your first part of the syllabus. It has aligned how in the for a business continuation, how tax and law we are going to use. I'm using both because in the tax and law, it's not that one part. It's a one part law, one part tax, not like that. This is a total 100 marks paper for the tax perspectives. Then in that you can see these two things, which is on the when it comes to this business continuity and the growth, the business continuity and the growth. Then for the continuation, please understand, it's not only income tax, it's not only SSCL, it's not only VAT. Now for continuation of the company, we are using both direct and indirect taxes. Then under that, the particular problems how you are going to solve. That's the for the continuation. And for growth, when it comes to this growth situation, then I would like to divide this the particular growth situations into two. One is the organic growth, other one is the inorganic growth. Organic growth through the internally how a company is going to develop. Then for that perspective, from the tax laws, then what are the concessions, exemptions, the Fourth City Act is there, and like that, the BOI laws, what are the benefits given? And when it comes to this, the inorganic growth, then in that situation, I'm not going to develop myself internally, but I need to go for the acquisitions, the mergers. Under that, what are the tax implications? And for these things, you need to look at. And afterwards, which is we need to look at on the support your C-suite decision making in both organic and inorganic growth strategies. Then if they are now the company, the board of directors, they need to go for the investment in Fourth City. Then they're asking from you, what are the tax implications? Now, how you interpret that based on the situation of the company? Then it's organic growth. And if the company needs to acquire company B, under that situation, what are the tax implications? We are, as a portfolio, as a cluster, we need to look at on all the types of the taxes. Don't think about from one angle. The link we have to, this is a totally your paper is a patrical. Your paper is patrical. You have to have your common sense, business sense, and the tax knowledge and all these things. Then this situation, not only that, you are the internal controls, if the two company to have a sound tax system, there should be internal controls. If not, how we are going to come any organization? The internal control, the sound internal control should be there. Then it's directly connected to the operation. The tax is a one part of that. Then whatever the knowledge what you have, then you can freely apply more. Make it may either for your answer, it make more icing if you know these all things. And for the wider thinking, and from the day one you have to start this. Don't think at the last 2 weeks I'm taking total study leave and I'm going to do this. If so, don't do that. These are not the subjects like that. Please understand, these are not the subjects like that. You have to put a weight on this. You have to do the things in a methodical manner. Then, if it is so, you are, which is living in the subject, this one or any other subject you are doing, then it helps you to do the things. Okay. Then these are the core focus of the syllabus and the module name. Module name, the technical emphasis, then advanced corporate income tax, scenario-based problem solving. Very clearly, it's scenario-based problem solving. Not just mere calculation, no. Not just mere writing the things. And the personal income tax we have, indirect tax as the VAT, the international taxation, TP, the organic growth decisions, global and local, the fiscal policy implications. These are very, very important things. When it comes to on the world trade management, the digitalization, and for this fiscal policy, application with this IMF reform, then all these things are in the syllabus. And next, which is quickly I need to come, skills what you should have. What are the skills you should have? Then under module name, the analyze complex tax issue. This part for entire first question. The first question, which is a 50 marks, what you have to do is this. For the other 25 marks also you have to do. But in here, the complex tax issues, maybe 1 to 5 issues given. Then for that, how you are going to advise on these things? Then they recommend the compliance and the efficiency strategies. You should provide ethical. In this also it has mentioned. We have the tax avoidance, we have tax planning, tax avoidance, tax evasion, and aggressive tax planning. As a consultant, what you are going to encourage, then for that you have to address here. Your all the decisions which you are giving for your board of directors, it should be a compliance with the law. Then if it is compliance, then it is efficient. If not, if a tax evasion kind of thing, then of course you finally it may be ended up with the penalties, interest, and all these things, the penal codes, and maybe imprisonment. Then they address legal and ethical considerations in taxation. It's a compulsory. It's a compulsory, the legal and the ethical considerations of the taxation you have to address separately. It has given in your syllabus. Okay. Then this is on the module A. And again, the module name, which is we have discussed here, the strategic, the preparation here. How you are going to be a student, how you are going to prepare on the long-term perspective on behalf of the taxation. Then here, develop tax planning strategies for key business decisions. Then business decisions, it may be the expansion, that means our investment decisions. It may be the dividend decisions. Then it may be the acquisitions. Then whatever business decisions in that situations, then how we are going to plan tax for these things. And the integrate emerging trends such as digitalization in taxation. These are highly testable areas for your examination because these are emerging issues. Now, if you are taking the RAMIs in the Inland Revenue web portal, in that how it has fastly digitalized in this reason, the 5-6 months. Now, how effective it is. Then how it impact to business decisions. These are practical things. Then these are highly testable for you. And the anti-money laundering measures. Now, in Sri Lanka, we have a lot of measures to take these money laundering situations to the capture. Then therefore, this also embed to your syllabus, which is in the AML and the terrorism funding. There are the laws and the ensure compliance and optimize tax efficiency. The tax is not something isolate. Tax is always going with the financial information, the non-financial information, as well as the controls of the organization. And to govern that, there should be the top management very keen about these things. Then embed with all these things, then you have to look at the angle of the tax. Now in your syllabus, now you have the idea. What is the expectation from the students from this paper? Okay. And I need to come for to take that expectation. Then these are the sub areas of your curriculum which we are going to learn. Then here the specification grid. This is on the specification grid, the learning leads and the weightage given for your sub areas of the syllabus. Then in here, the first one which I have mentioned, tax and law for business continuity at C-suite level, it's a 40%. Now, immediately after this slide 6, I need to come for your main curriculum. And tax and law for organic growth decisions, the 25%, the internally if a company needs to develop, then what are the available concessions, the which is available relief for that company in a different angles we need to look at. And see the part C of your syllabus, it is tax and law for inorganic growth decisions. Then I'm not going for internally, but I'm more, it's like to go for acquisition, the mergers. Maybe I need to go for the demerge, the detach with the company which I have already engaged in. Then for that part, it's a 25. This 25%, it has everything. It has everything which is from the tax, which is for the acquisition on mergers for that part, international taxation and the non-resident tax combinedly, the transfer pricing, ethical perspectives, and tax agents. There are many you have to learn. And the tax policy and economic implication, very interesting, which is on the government budgeting process and IMF reforms which we have, and all these things, and the what's the composition of the tax income in Sri Lanka, the tax revenue in Sri Lanka, indirect taxes versus direct taxes, then how it's happened. Now for these things you have to learn, these are the core syllabus areas. These are the core syllabus areas which you have to learn. For this one, this is all taken from your this good the curriculum. Then this is your the strategic tax plan in curriculum. This is explain the module name, learning assessment methodology. It has explained all these things, and I need to come for this. This has explained key proficiency levels, how you are answering the questions, given scenario-based questions. Then this is the, I'll come to this later. Now come to this, the what we have looked as the 4 areas of the syllabus. These are the areas as the topics which you have to learn. I need to go through for this. It will take 10 minutes, but I need to come for this one because this is very, very important. From the day one, you have to know what are the areas you are going to learn. Then here, and what is in the syllabus. I'm doing everything, it's in the syllabus and it's supported through the study text. The study text, the relevant questions, then mini questions were given. Then for each and every topic, the sample, the questions were provided with answers. Then therefore, which is the walkthrough test, which is it's a logical flow of the explanations are there. Then for that, it's a support to students and even it's support to lecturers. Then therefore, I'm totally, it's going with your syllabus and with the study text and the papers and with the Inland Revenue Act, VAT, SSCL and the relevant other provisions and my own questions. Then this is how it's going. Therefore, as students, you all have a lot of resources among you all. You have to use these things. If you are doing your hard working with the commitment, with a target, then under that situation, it's for you. It is for a little period. Then after that, how the relax, you are thinking that, okay, after 6 months now, I had exams. Then I have completed this, then I don't have exams. And now I have one of the prestige qualification with my hand. Which it's not just a qualification, but it's the outcome of my the hard working and commitment. If not, the achievement of this is really difficult. Then therefore, that relief, think about that. You are going for that path. Then it's okay being a little bit committed and hardworking and concentrate on the things what you're doing. After that, you are in the comfort zone. Okay. Then these are the areas. This is our first main area which we are going to discuss. The tax and law for business continuity. There is a private limited company, quoted public company. They are in the continuation of the business. They are doing their day-to-day business activities. Then what are the questions, tax related questions which they can come? Then how they are going to solve that? What are the tools given for this corporate income tax for complex businesses? Then prepare comprehensive income tax computations for corporate entities, including residents and non-residents. These are the comprehensive addressing a tax issue. These are not the numbers. Yes, we have numbers, but this is totally, it's with a scenario based calculation, not like that one company given starting from the profit before tax to take the adjustments and take the business income, investment income, not like that. Okay. Then under that, the second one, assess the accuracy of the income tax computation for corporate entities based on financial and non-financial data. I'm so and heavily oriented on this part. Then for this is where your logical thinking should come. This is where you have to think, because the maybe it's through the Inland Revenue assessment. It may be through the Inland Revenue audit. It may be through the tax health check, which the company has done. Maybe it's through the internal auditor, which they have found the issue. Then in that situation, which is the accuracy, now the computation of the tax liability, the accuracy is questionable. The relevant deductions you have not done properly. Then for the relevant, there are disallowable expenses, but you have not disallowed. There may be the cash transactions happen within the upper limit, but we have not considered those. Then therefore, this is where the accuracy of the tax computation you need to look at with the logical argument of the law, what we have missed from the law. Then that is the second part. And as is income tax liability of the which is specialized businesses like on the banking, insurance for this part. Then including banking and financial institution, insurance and offshore companies, especially for this part, which is this foreign source application. Then these areas we need to look at. And next, this is on a corporate income tax for complex businesses. Now you can see this is the back end given. What is the particular, the output it has given. For this, you need to come from the inputs. For this, we cannot just do the tax computation for the inaccurate situation. We cannot go for just without knowing anything. We cannot go for the problem solving on a tax issue through the calculation, small calculations. Then for this part, we should have the knowledge. Then under this, you have to learn about the business income, investment income, other income for resident company. All these things you have to learn. Then the calculate the VAT and SSCR. This is next. The two VAT is an indirect tax and SSCL is based on the turnover. Then it's a turnover tax. Then for this part, the calculate VAT SSCL for complex businesses. How this calculation? Is it again with the apply the 18% VAT rate on taxable supply and whether this is zero rated and do the calculation? Is that computation of the balance VAT payable? No. This is again in the same scenario. The particular issue has given with reference to VAT. Maybe it's combined with the income tax also. Then for that particular transaction, this going with the transaction basis. Then in that transaction, what's the tax implication? Then here, assess VAT and this SVAT, this was abolished from the 30th September. This is the last date, 30th September 2025. And officially from the 1st October 2025, this was abolished. Then within your year of assessment, which is a 25-26 year of assessment, for the 6-month period, this is there. Then the core insights we need to discuss. Other than that, no application for time being. Okay. Then VAT, SSCL and the SVAT payable by a registered person in a business which carrying out a multiple activities. This we need to look at. And advice, this is on the management of VAT and SSCL for business. For come to this part, all the theoretical angles of the VAT, SSCL you have to learn. Then after that, by knowing the things, how you are going to apply advice on VAT and SSCL in specialized industries, products including product bundling, unbundling of the products, construction industry and land development. These are core areas which we are applying the different VAT treatments based on the transactions and the product unbundling and the product bundling, the promotion activities, then how the VAT application is coming. And they discuss statutory provisions of VAT and SSCL with regard on assessments, time bar for assessment and appeal settlement process. Now, Lamai, can you see how these things are starting? It's from the assessments, time bar, appeal and appeal settlement. Then therefore there is statutory, the appellant process for the assessments, how the appeal and what are the situations of the assessment for that part is addressing. Then for other parts which is on the payment return, yeah, we have to do that. But more or less for that part it has within a CL4. And analyze VAT and SSCL issues in a complex business transaction and advise on the appropriate action. This is where your first, which is question. In that first question, the issues, these kind of things you need to address. And VAT on financial services for the persons who are engaging in the banks, financial institutions, or any person engaged in the business of providing of financial services. Then for that part is there, and they explain the meaning of the financial services and the computation of the value addition. We have to go with the gazette and the assess the VAT on financial service payable by a person carrying on a business of the financial services. Nowadays on advanced appellant process, you can see the advanced appellant process, it is starting outline procedure for appeals to tax appeals commission and the code of appeal. But for your more understanding, I'm taking it from the assessments, the appeal to CGIR and then the tax and then the code of appeal. And you can see then it's a starting from in between, then you should have that knowledge. Then all this balance part, it is in a CL4. Then from the CL4 to SL4, I know maybe you have not done the CL4 in this situation. Therefore, that for a particular gaps to fulfill, then I will do the nitty-gritties going beyond on these areas. And the assess instances require the application of the writ jurisdictions. The writs we need to look at on the procedural fairness to assess. Then there are types of the writs, very interesting. Then for this you have to learn. And then the case laws. Then assess the facts and the principles of the key case laws. Now for these, what you can see here, the note, a list of relevant cases will be provided by CASriLanka periodically. Then for this one, once we have received this, then we will do for the previously for this one, this part it was not released. Then for this time definitely they will release. Then after that you have to learn this part also. And then the application of statutory provisions and case law, how you are going to apply. What are the things from this appellant on the advanced appeal procedures and the case laws, and then the compile the solutions for issues raised by the authorities based on the taxpayer rights established under the statutes and relevant case laws. Now these are on, it's coming the dispute resolutions. Now the assessment issued, there is appeal raised. Now the assistant commissioner is telling one, we are telling one. Now how it's going to resolve? Now resolving with whom? With the tax authorities. Then on the advice on patriarchal tax issues, yes, your paper is totally with the patriarchal tax issues, including assessments, interpretations, recovery and penal actions and litigations. Now these recovery actions, the freezing of the accounts, which is all these things you have to learn particularly. Because we don't know from where the examiner is going to ask. Then what's the solid, the what is a solid background we have? This is our the curriculum. Then if you know the curriculum and you know correctly how it's going to apply through the practical situation, then you are in a comfort zone. And the demonstrate the knowledge and application of statutory provisions and case laws in practical tax issues, including the clarification of taxability of profit and income, deductibility of expenses, and taxpayer rights and obligations. Covering these things, the case law applications and individual taxation. In the first part of your 40% area I have mentioned, you have to learn investment income, business income and other income. And now the employment income, which is for the personal income tax for individual with multiple income sources. Then assess the financial affairs of individual with higher exposure to income tax and other the interactive taxes, VAT, SSA like that as applicable. Recommend alternative courses of action to optimize tax position. Tax planning for individuals. Why it's only for companies? You can do it for individuals also. Then this is that. And prepare supplementary statements and the alternative computations under the receipt and payment and the net wealth method. We have to do the questions on this because these are little with the numbers. Then on the receipt and payment to identify if there are any undisclosed income. Then from this, the first part A of the syllabus has been completed. Now the part B, which is I need to grow myself internally. Then under that situation, what are the areas which you need to look at? This is the part B of the syllabus. In the part B, tax and law for organic growth. This is for internal. If you are going for internally, for expansions, then for concessions, what are the available methods for you to grow? In here, tax incentives available for new investments and business expansion. Assess major tax holidays, exemptions and other incentives granted under Inland Revenue Act, BOI law and the Colombo Fourth City Economic Commission. This is very, very important because this law has changed. This law has changed in 2026 January. Then is a knowing of these things is very important, not only for this subject, then but also for your entire, which maybe you're working in a commercial sector, maybe in an audit sector, then these things are important for you. Then the proposed alternative tax incentives for given situation and at their limitation. Now for these, we need to look at the enhanced capital allowance application and on if a person is going with the exemptions or a particular investment incentives, how it's going to apply. And the tax planning and exemptions, rates and the losses. In here, compile effective and legitimate plans and measures for business in order to optimize tax expenditure under given scenario. Now this totally focus on tax planning. This is totally focused on tax planning. Then we need to go for the optimization of the tax expenditure. Tax is expenditure, is a cash outflow. How we are going to plan for that? Then it's a scenario based again, considering the opportunistic, the statutory provisions, then the fiscal incentives and the limitations, and evaluate the impact of intercompany agreements of related parties on artificial and fictitious. This has tested in June 2026. One of the very important area, which is application of the section 35 and the 33 and the 34 of the Inland Revenue Act. Then for that, the artificial and fictitious transactions and assess the difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance. This context, currently, this is very, very important. And tax planning in indirect taxes, The assess tax planning opportunities under VAT, including section 22(7) registration, all the parts of the VAT I'm going to cover in here. Okay, in this part I need to cover. Then for this one also it will be covered through that. The application of the section 22(7) for the long-term projects as well as the JIT, which is the just-in-time, and the bonded warehouse application and the customs ordinance, how we are going to do. Then in part B4, provide tax advice and communication. Always understand, if the examiner asks for you to provide a tax opinion, maybe a particular problem solved, if the examiner has given a proper format, follow that. It may be a memo, it may be a which is on which is article, it may be to write the board of directors as a tax consultant, then follow that format. This is the communication. Provide tax advice and communication. Then we have to communicate with the Department of Inland Revenue. We have to communicate with our internally, the board of directors, our managers. Then how we are going to deal this. Now it is the soft skills has been embedded to your syllabus. Then the compile reports and other formal internal and external communications with regard to tax planning measures and advice. It may be the writing of the appeal. It may be the appeal to be a valid appeal. It should be. It's mentioned in the precise grounds. Then how you are going to tackle these things? Then for that part it is there. Very emerging issue, the digitalization of taxation. Now, when it comes to 26-27, with this e-invoicing system, the POS system application, all these things, and the RAMIs, and for everything, now the digitalization is in the tax. Even not now, for 2-3 years back, from this RAMIs to e-services, we digitalize and now we absorbed with that. Then here, in digitalization, what you have to do, assess global digitalization trends in taxation, including e-invoicing and real-time reporting system like golden tax system in China and the X-Road in Estonia, and the taxation with the cryptocurrencies. For this entire part, it has tested this time. The June 2026 exam, in the question 4, this has tested. And assess AI and big data application in tax compliance, including AI-powered chatbots in Singapore and automated systems like single touch payroll in Australia and making tax digital in the UK. Then for these things, these are the global trends. Even we don't have, but the other countries they have, then we need to look at, and how it's going to adopt to Sri Lanka, we need to look at. And assess the impact of the blockchain on enhancing tax transparency and assess its integration into automated tax filing system. Now we are doing this. The company, any person, the return filing online, it's a compulsory. And for VAT, it was from the latest amendment in 2025, then it was compulsory. Then therefore, and from the Inland Revenue at the recent amendments which are applicable for the 26-27, there are a few changes happen, but not applicable for you. Then they evaluate how the revenue administration, revenue management information system, which is RAMIS, has transformed taxation in Sri Lanka. This has tested this time. And evaluate the effects of the emerging global technologies, including big data, blockchain, and AI in enhancing tax compliance and transparency. And World Trade Management, the letter of credit, FOB, CIF pricing, the world trade, in between on world trade and globalization, we have the free trade agreements, then those things, then this also tested this time. Then you can see the lot of new areas it has there. Then you cannot skip any area. That's the message. That's the message from the curriculum. What I need to give, even taken more time, but I need to give this insight. The reason you cannot skip any area of this syllabus. We don't know where it's going to test. Therefore, for me, this 100% is highly testable. Therefore, I'm doing 100% of syllabus and I need to do the questions to the live sessions. Then all the things for you. But if I'm not going for selective teaching, you don't have any right to go for the selective learning. Please understand. If you are taking a decision, the sole owner of the decision is you. Then the impact of the decision you have to bear. Okay. Then here, the World Trade Management evaluate international trade, including the pricing terms, letter of credits, BL, and they identify the commodity classification and valuation by customs and the application of the trade agreements, including World Trade Organizations and the South Asian Preferential Trade Agreement, and evaluate the scope of the application of the excise duty, focusing on goods subject to excise taxation, including alcohol, tobacco, and all these things. Okay, that is the end of the part B on the organic growth decisions. Now come to part C, which is tax and law for inorganic growth decisions. I need to go for outside and I need to do the expansions, not internally. Then tax planning for mergers, acquisition and divestments. Now in that, these are the things I'm not going to take one by one. This is the main thing. Then transfer pricing. Now I'm going with the main topic because for this one it's so lengthy. Then transfer pricing we need to look at on the international transfer pricing and other than international transfer pricing, which is covering section 76, 77 and the gazette notifications. This has tested this time. These are core areas of your syllabus. All are core areas. The transfer pricing, there are 5 pricing methods. Then we need to practice the questions how this primary adjustments to the transfer pricing we are going to do. Then the taxation of non-residents and the international taxation, the both combinedly going, the learning of the non-resident taxation through the Inland Revenue Act provisions, as well as it's coming to international taxation through the double taxation avoidance agreements and the application we need to look at very carefully. Okay, these questions are not difficult, but if you know the concept clearly, you are the person who can win this paper easily. Paper is not a difficult paper. I need to show that. Only thing you have to understand what you have to do. Then the duties and responsibilities of the tax professionals. Then being a practitioners, being a tax professionals, the ethical background of us and the law what it has provided. We have to discuss the 2 gazette notifications and the Anti-Corruption and Anti-Money Laundering Act application through that SEER box. Now these are applicable. The Financial Intelligence Unit of the CBSL, and from that and investigations and all these things are now going hands on hand with the IMF reforms and all these things. And then personal data protection and the data privacy, and these are very important. These are very important since the purpose is you need to learn these things for the survival, the sustainability of you should know these things. And last, for the next 25, and this is for next 10%, which is the fiscal policy and economic implications. For the whatever the fiscal policy which we have, whether it's a contractionally, whether it's expansionary, whatever you have to justify with the current situation. For what you have to do on that, the fiscal policy and the taxation in Sri Lanka, then evaluate the fiscal policy in Sri Lanka and the fiscal policy instruments with respect to taxation, including their effectiveness in achieving economic stability and the growth. Which is next one is a microeconomic impact on taxation because on the labor, the salary, and when it comes to goods and services, how tax impact we need to discuss. Very practical and very logical topic. These are, you may think, these are kind of the economic things why we need to learn. The tax is not an isolated subject. Then it's not only number crunching. This is a real way which the tax is applicable now in the for Patrice, when we are practicing We have to do all these things. Then therefore, now you are in that position at your exam for you to do that. Then the government budgeting process. Then the government budgeting process, how the budget, you know there is a budget in each November, maybe the interim budgets in between, but you don't know what is this. Then for that entire process, from the budget reading to speaker certification, as the act was the process, it is there. And the IMF, the application is very, very important, which is the IMF reforms. Now we are under that. Then under extended fund facility, we are the people who are enjoying. We are the people means we are the country which under IMF this is extended fund facility situation. Then for that we have to take into care. This is your total syllabus which I want to show you this. You can understand. It is not something easy. You cannot achieve this from one night. Then from day one, you have to be prepared. That's my first and final message. I'm repeating this for the entire sessions. Then for any student, for first message, the first advice, I'm not a person who is going to give more and more advices to students because you are elders, your maturity is there with you all. Then therefore, you can understand the gravity of this. This is not something to do hide and seek. Then what you have to do, you have to start your studies quickly. It's not to be panic, but to, with the effective manner, you have to start. That is for your syllabus. And then structure of the paper. This is your paper structure. Now quickly I need to come for your paper. Then structure of the paper. The year of assessment for the December 2026 is your exam. Year of assessment 25-26 like it has tested in the June 2026 exam. Then time allocation 3 hours and 15 minutes. Why there is 15 minutes additional time for students to read and plan their answers. Then the read for the question, plan for their answers. No selection in questions in section A. We have two parts of the paper, section A and B. You may already done the papers in the new syllabus. Then in section B, from 3 questions you have to select 2. And the total marks 100, pass 50. There are 2 sections. Section A, 1 compulsory 50 marks question, time allocation 1.5 hours. And the section B, the 325 marks question and select 2 questions. It's upon for you to pick and choose, and the time allocation for 1 question 45 minutes. It's open book examination and refer to open book guide issued by CASriLanka. Don't misuse this. Don't do unnecessary things. Very clearly, institute they have issued an open book referential material guideline. It has issued in 2026 February, but we can see it through the papers. Then you have to follow that. If not these books, you cannot bring for your examination. This is the first day, very first day, which I need to give this message for all of you. Then the institute is very clearly communicated what is the open book referential material policy. Then even through the pilot paper it is there. Then you have to follow that. Don't be struggled in your examination without following these things. I'll come to one by one. And what are the preferred open book materials? These are the preferred open book materials. Permitted open book materials, you have the Inland Revenue Act and you have the Value Added Tax Act. With all the amendments, Inland Revenue Act up to the Act number 2 of 2025. And for this part also, which the common question the student asking, even 1,000 times I have mentioned that they are asking for the 1001, then I am giving answer for the 1001 also. For you also the same thing. It doesn't matter. For this, then we have the consolidated debt up to this amendment. But don't bring the consolidated debt You cannot bring the consolidated, that you can bring only main enactment and the amendments. Then in that you can buy it from the government publications. Then please buy these things as it in a convenient manner, not as quick as possible. But before your exam, please buy. Because in last time what has happened, in finally for the, I think for 1 week of time, because the publications are not available. Then it has printed and it has make available. But there are some the gaps. Then if you have done the things in earliest as possible, then this particular kind of things are not arriving to your. Then value added tax, it's Act number 14 of 2002, but it's up to the amendment, Act number 4 of 2025, and the examinable gazette notifications. There are 14 gazette notifications. Then these are the list of gazette notifications. Sorry, these are the list of gazette notifications. Then you have the list. Sorry. Then from this, I'm not going to take one by one. This is under income tax, and it's 9 and the it's the 10 gazette notifications and the 4 gazette notification on the VAT. All these gazette notifications now after these sessions through the lecturing institution, in the LMS, for the 2 folders are there. In that 2 folders, then all these gazettes for income tax and VAT, then we will upload for you. And for these things, which is this gazette, as same, these are in the CASriLanka website. Under your which is in the examinations, in that education, in that open book referential materials, all these are there. Then you can freely go and download these gazette notifications even now. Everything is facilitated. Then on this now, first thing, you should have Inland Revenue Act with the 2025 amendment, the VAT Act with the 2025 amendment, and this all 15 or 14, 14, the gazette notifications. For these gazette notifications, let me communicate very clearly this gazette notifications and this open book, you cannot write anything. Don't write anything in these publications. Then last time this has mentioned and this has make a particular message in the group and put even the 500 times it has asked, then again explained. Then don't write anything in these books. Any books means any open book referential materials, don't write anything. You cannot write something and paste it in the books. No. Only which you can do, you can tag it, then you can highlight, you can do the slide lining. That's all. කිසිම දෙයක් ලියන්න එපා. Don't write anything in this open book referential materials. These things were communicated to the students properly. But if anyone who missed this, from day one, I need to communicate these things to you. Then if not, you are the person who are uncomfortable at the examination, at the point of the exam hall. Okay. Then on these gazettes, you can take printouts. Now, you have to take printouts, not the photocopies. සමහර ළමයින්ට අන්තිමට print out photocopies වල පැටලුණා. Therefore, please understand, you have to take the printouts of these gazettes. All these gazettes I am doing with y'all. Then through the session by session, these gazettes make available. And after today's session, these gazettes will be available in the LMS. That's the second. And in CASriLanka website, under open book referential material, that particular drop down, that particular menu, all the gazette notifications are there. Then wherever, even in the IRD web portal, these cassettes are there. Then from any place you can download and you can take printouts. These printouts you need not to go and certify from the CASriLanka Education Division. Don't go and certify these gazettes, no need, because the reason you cannot write anything in the gazettes. I'm repeating this, for gazettes, take printouts and you need not to go and certify these gazettes from the Education Division. If there is any change on this is a current policy which have any change, then I will communicate. Okay. Then if any change, you can communicate to me also. Then this is a current policy. And why I am telling this, the because it's how the students, it's all right. Then you all can ask it from the 100,000 times, a million times, it's okay. But only thing, you should be success at your examination. Okay. Then this is on for that open book referential material. Now I need to come for your paper. Now it's good time for me to come for your paper. Then I will come, this is the June 2026 paper. Okay. Then in this paper, which is first here, I need to come for instruction to candidates. Then there is an eye opener for you all to have a discipline on this subject. Then time allowed, reading and planning 15 minutes, writing 3 hours. You know that. Then total 100 marks. This paper consists of 2 sections. Section A, compulsory question. Section B, 3 questions. As I have mentioned, answer any 2 questions. Then for this one, this 15 minutes very worth. Not entire 15 minutes, at least 2 minutes from this 15 minutes you can utilize to pick and choose a question. Then after that, what's the order? Am I going to do with section A first and the B first, whatever? What are the questions? The order to select. Don't take entire 15 minutes. When your answer booklet received to you, then you should be able to start your writing for the first second of the 3 hours starting. Then, which is begin each answer on the separate paper in the answer booklet, submit all workings. The neatness of your answer, it's up to you. The person, the marker is going to looking at on your paper, the answer script, then it should be clear, neat, it's not so crystal clear, but readable. Readable and understandable, your language. Then therefore, as I have mentioned, this is a paper you have to write more. Supported with the calculations, but you have to write more. Under that situation, what you have to do, the answer writing methodologies, if you are weak in writing, now it's good time for you to start. Okay. Then the examination will be conducted as open book examination, and only the following publications will be permitted to use at the examination hall. Inland Revenue Act and subsequent amendment. Then therefore don't bring Consolidated Act. Then this is the relevant publications which you have. Therefore don't go with the which is on the Consolidated Act. Then you have to go with the main enactment and the subsequent amendments. And next, Value Added Tax Act and the subsequent amendment the same, and the relevant gazette notifications. Now everything is you know. And this is which I need to put the red. The sixth one, this is the open book policy. This is in the CASriLanka website also. Candidates are allowed to bring or use above permitted publications subject to the following: highlighting, slidelining, and underlining relevant sections in the publications are allowed. මේ කියන්නේ කරන්න පුළුවන් දේවල්. Next one, short notes or any other notes written on the permitted publications are not allowed. Don't do this thing. Okay. Don't write anything in the open book referential materials. Attaching, pasting or inserting any other documents to the permitted publications are not allowed. වෙනම ලියලා පොතේ අලවන්න එපා. It's already printed. What's the legislator wants to communicate through the laws, it has printed. Don't write your things in there. Okay? Then page tabs are page tabs to refer pages are allowed. This can, don't do this. Then this is very, very important. Don't do this thing. Don't do this. This is the first day which I really need to communicate to all students. Then next one, which is here, the notes, textbooks other than permitted publications or any other material will not be allowed. Photocopies, extracts of the above publications will not be allowed. That's why now in the last moment, the student asked, if the photocopies cannot bring, how we are bring the gazettes? Then I have to switch on them and I have to tell you are taking printouts. Printouts are different to photocopies. Then therefore please understand, yes, at the last moment you are maybe panic. එහෙම වෙන්න අවශ්‍යතාවයක් නැහැ. This not allow is a photocopies, but the printouts are allowed to bring. Then the answer should be in English language and the everything should be attached. And these things from here, which I really need to very conveniently, I need to communicate this 5, 6, and the selection of the questions of the paper. And this is your paper. This is section A, the question 1, the 50 marks. The total, you can see the particular tax issues given. On this particular tax issues, issue 1, then issue 2, and issue 3, issue 4, and issue 5. For this, then you have to provide the answers. For the 50 marks, it's supporting with the relevant calculations. Then that's all. You can see the length of the questions. It's more easily readable. Then you have to allocate. Now from this, for first question, for the 50 marks, then it's not much lengthy because it's lengthy, but it is readable manner it has given. Then this is a question 1 and these are the requirements. And even you can see for the requirements, the marks allocation, the students can obtain marks. That's why the question has divided into more separate sub questions. Then under that, which you all can obtain more and more marks. You can see 4, 3, 3. Then it's more convenient to you. These are the 50 marks. And for section B, on this, you can select the 2 questions as your preference. Then in the question 2, then this is the question to the 2. The art of the questions. There is a one part and the second part. In the question also A and B are like that. Then this is the question information and this is a requirement. You can see it's not too much. It's not lengthy. And from the first part A tested, second part B tested. This is how even pilot paper it has taken the approach. And the question 3, the component 1 and component 2, this is on international tax non-residents. And for that part, and which is on the world trade management, is the requirements. These are the facts of the question for you to read for 1 page and requirements for 1 page. And for question 4, which is the details of the question and the requirement 1 page. Only this 25 marks, you can see it's limited to 2 pages. Then it's a readability for the students. At the pressure, it's more convenient under this. And the relevant, the articles of the double tax avoidance agreements, it will be provided in the paper. Okay. Then this is on the entire paper, which is the description of your paper through the syllabus. Then for not the same questions. And now I don't expect these things. The pilot paper it has given for you to as a prerequisite. The mock papers done, it's for the as a prerequisite. This is actual exam. Then the questions which it's in the pilot paper or mock paper, it's not going to test in the actual exam. It may be, may not. Then it is within the syllabus, the paper it has tested. Then if it is so, as a student, you have to plan for your syllabus and practice for the syllabus and you have to go for exam. then just only doing at the pilot paper and the mock paper and telling the questions are not as it is as the pilot and the mock paper, then if it is, so why the actual exam paper? Then please understand, from the side of the students, you have to do a lot of things, lot of homework you have to do. Then you have to start from the day one. Okay. Then which is next, which I need to come from here, the application of the action verbs on your expectation. Then here the key proficiency level which it has given in your paper, which is here in the curriculum, the key proficiency level given, which is evaluate and create. From this, what is the expectation? Through looking at the questions tested, then under that, the evaluate and create are your key proficiency levels, expectations. Evaluate what you are going to do. Students are expected to critically assess tax strategies. Then compare alternatives, weigh the risk, and judge their suitability for the business continuity, organic and inorganic growth. I'm not going to take one by one, but I need to take these insights to you. Apply case laws and fiscal policy analysis. These are applications. Identify strengths and weaknesses. Now, these are coming through your entire knowledge which you have learned. On your controls, internal controls, maybe through your audit knowledge. And when it comes to the economics, business studies, and your common sense, you have to apply these things. And they make evidence-based judgments. Then why it's evidence-based judgments? The scenario given. You have to stick to scenario and you have to apply to scenario, not just mere writing of the theories. And the create, what you have to do, the design tax planning strategies, you have to tell if we have done like this, then we can reduce the tax legitimate manner. Then the integrate the emerging trends, the digitalization, AI, blockchain, anti-money laundering measures and all. The formulate innovative approaches, go beyond textbook answer to the proposed strategies that balance compliance, efficiency and ethics. Your answer should be ethical answer. It should be balanced compliance. Then we are dealing with the laws. We cannot go beyond the laws. Please understand that. That's why you should know the theory first, then go for the application. And the produce structured recommendations. Not just, okay, by applying this one, this is good. Don't write like that. You have to link to the given scenario and give the recommendation. The present solutions in professional, the formats, reports, memos that it has given in your curriculum. These are the requirements, learning outcomes through the learning needs of the curriculum. Okay, then this is on that. And then the assessment method. Now you have look at your paper, you know your syllabus, how it's going to test in the scenario-based questions. To test analytical and decision-making skill. Throughout the paper, this is the test. Then mini cases, you can see the mini cases, not the lengthy cases given, even for the first question, even for the second section B, you can see the length of the question and the requirement. Mini cases to evaluate statutory application and the practical problem solving abilities. This means the module is designed to blend theory with practice, ensuring students can apply tax knowledge strategically and ethically in real-world business environment. Your paper totally practical paper. The practical issues given, you have to resolve them within the law, within the legal framework of Sri Lanka. Okay. Then this is the learning lead, as I have explained. At least remember you have the 4 parts of your syllabus you have to learn. Okay. Then afterwards, what next? Actually, I need to go. This is from your curriculum booklet. 25-30 is the curriculum. Use of the action verbs. Now you have seen in your paper. This is the pilot paper. I'm not coming to this one again. Then anyway, I'm doing this with you. And for this, then you can see, so always it's tested with the action verb. It has tested with the action verb. Then for your level, I need to look at the action verbs in assess, evaluate and assess, advise, evaluate, advise, evaluate, advise. Then for this part, evaluate, recommend, assess, evaluate. And for these action verb, discuss, evaluate, evaluate. And next, assess, evaluate, discuss. Outline is there. And advise, evaluate, advise. Now I need to come for your action verbs. Where this evaluate, advise, assess, මෙයා කොහෙද තියෙන්නේ? Then in here, come to these. In that, analyze. What's the tier? What's the level? 1, 2, 3, and 4. In fourth level, you have outline action verb. And after that, evaluate in the next level. Then under evaluate, you have advise, you have evaluate, you have recommend. And at the create, you have assess. Then what is highly testable? I need to tick here. Analyze, but analyze is only one word. It was in your paper. And the evaluate and the create are the particular levels of the action verbs. The higher levels of the action verbs are testing at your examination. Okay. Then next, what a student must show, not must do. මොනවද exam එකේ පෙන්වන්න ඕනේ? Then the analytical ability. You should have to have the analytical ability. Break down complex tax problem using law, policy, and case precedents. If applicable to that scenario, the case precedents. Then the strategic thinking, the recommend tax efficient solutions aligned with business growth and continuity. Then practical problem solving, strategic thinking, analytical ability, practical, this two is going hands on hands with this one, practical problem solving. Apply statutory provisions to real world scenario, including disputes and compliance issues. Ethical judgment, it should be ethical. The distinguish between legitimate planning and evasion. This time this has tested. While upholding professional codes, we have to adhere to the code of ethics. And the adaptability, integrate emerging trends, the AI, digitalization, blockchain, and anti-money laundering, data privacy act things, for these things into tax planning. The communication is scarce. Present findings in professional format suitable for C-suite decision making, because in your syllabi, in your syllabus, in here, the first thing, what is tax and law for business continuity at C-suite level. You are giving the advisors to board level, the high level of the persons. Now, under that, the finally, what you have to do. You have to do these things, learn with discipline. You should have to have a discipline. Then we have the Telegram group, we have the WhatsApp group. Then through the both this community groups, these are not only for the, if I'm addressing on the students at Infinity, learning a business school, then in that the learning students under here, please understand the group is community group, the Telegram group, that any student can join for that. Not only the students which is under purchase and doing the things under this course. Then therefore your politeness, how you're addressing things in the groups, it's shown you the maturity. And the lot of eyes are open to you. Please understand that one also. The lot of eyes are open to you. Then your behavior, your attitudes, who are you, we can see from the words which you are interpreting in the groups. Then therefore, which is the any question if you have put into the group, and it is the way which the students can communicate with the lecturer. All the messages, even it's a good or bad, I don't care. Then you are my responsibility. Then therefore, whatever the messages you are sending, then I am quickly replying. Quickly means the පැය 4-5ක් යන්න පුළුවන් සමහරක් වෙලාවට. But all the messages, for sure, I'm replying. And when you're sending personal messages to Telegram, of course, I'm accepting and I'm providing the answers. මේ සතිය හා ප්‍රශ්න ඊළඟ සතිය වෙනකන් ඉන්නේ නෑ උත්තර දෙන්න. I'm not taking a gap of 1 week. Maybe it's 4-5 hours, but as my schedules, then therefore, and I'm not a more online oriented person for sure. Then therefore, at the situation which I'm sure your message, then I'm answering. Then please have the discipline as the students who are doing a very professional exam. Then be polite, have your, not polite to me, I'm accepting anything because it's all right for me. But it's a people looking at you and people making judgments on you. Therefore, the unnecessarily to take a horse in the group, don't do the things. Then there's a humble request from the matured students. Then if a one party is doing a responsibility as it is, as students, if you are catering to take that, and if there are questions, then we are addressing the questions. If there are no gaps, then both parties are very happy. Then there is no such particularly in the perfect scenarios. No, there are stumbles, there are situations, but behave in an ethical manner because everything is it's showing your attitudes. Okay, then that is from the group, and any questions asked, I'm free to answer for that in a Telegram group, WhatsApp group. What are the questions you're asking? The complaints, the blame, I'm okay. Then I'm addressing these things, and it's for this 6 months period which you're trusting us and you're believe in us. Therefore, 100%, the what we can give to you, then we are giving. Okay. Now, as students, what you have to do, learning with discipline. I have explained that with this discipline word, then the fashion and living in the subject, you have to live. There are many reasons to live. Now, let me tell the example when we are doing our one of the research, which is MFRP. Then in that, our lecturer asked from us, what's the reason for the first day of the session? The lecturer, one of the honestly one of the typical the lecturer, and he is the here we blessed to have him. Then in that he asked, what's the purpose of your survival? What's the purpose of your survival? Why you are surviving? Then the batch, it has given a different answer for each and every learning partner. He has asked this. Then which we have given different answers. Then what the expected answer from him is, because we have to complete this MFRP. That's the only thing. Then as this, which I need to tell, that you should have many aims in your life, but for this small time period, for the 6 months, please live in the subject, not only SL4, the whatever the subjects you are doing, the live in that. Then it's at the end of the day, you will realize the success which you are receiving. And අද ගිහින් බලනවා, ඊට පස්සේ ආයි හෙට නැහැ, ආයි සතියකින් බලනවා, ආයි මතක් වෙනවා අනේ මම මේ සබ්ජෙක්ට් එකක් කරනවා කියලා ඊට පස්සේ ගිහින් මාසෙකින් බලන. Don't do that. You have to have the not a fluctuated behavior but a steady behavior on your studies, and the self power play for reflection. You should need to have the proper mechanism on yourself. For the studying methods are different to you. Then the mind mapping, I'm using mind mapping, and the scanning, how when reading the things, how you are taking it into your mind. And next, master of art of writing, this is compulsory. You have to practice writing at least one question every week. Then the technology is with you, you can take the help, and you can which is majority of your it's writing, it's no matter, but if there are weak points, you have to address things. Okay, then that's all. Then I need to give this message to you, which is a Stephen Covey, which is on the 7 habits of the most effective persons. In that, we will begin with end in mind. We need to complete this, not this session, not the entire syllabus. Definitely I will do. But we need to start with the end in mind. The end is to make sure that you are past this subject. That's the only message. And for the things in basically I'm targeting on the first week, second week of the October to complete the syllabus. And after that, even before completing it's 100% of the syllabus, I am starting the live sessions. The live session for totally model question discussions. Okay, model question discussions. Then therefore that is the way which if I have completed 40%, then after maybe 2 weeks, because I'm guessing which you all which watching the recordings and learning in a particular manner. Therefore after completing first 40%, I'm immediately starting live session accordingly for a 1 month, the 2 live sessions, and continuously it's going until your December examination. Okay, live session is totally for your questions to answer. And next, which is on the model question discussions, I'm not doing anything on the live sessions other than the model question discussion because I need to take you all to that level for the writing of the answers in a different scenarios. Okay, that's all about the introduction to SL-4, which is strategic tax planning, and I'm warmly welcoming all of you for the for our upcoming sessions, and to make you pass for the all the nitty-gritties. It's prepared with the blessings. Then therefore it's your part for you to ensure that you are going to pass this subject. Okay, then that's all. Any questions? I have seen um, okay, this is a domestic question it has asked. You can go with this is asking on the, he is not sure about the subjects which he has done, then he or she. Then therefore, it's for infinity, we are going with the installments. Then you can take it under, purchase it under installments. And it's a convenient manner it is there. And in that manner, you can purchase, and after you purchase it in the installments while the results came, then you can take your decision. Okay, then any questions? How you join here? It is asking on the revision. Then I'm starting a new session. Then in that sense, then you are suddenly asking on the revision. The revision, I have not decided yet. First, let to be the results to release. Then after that, we will look at, based on the requirements, I will do the revisions as it's required. But still, I have not decided. Then based on the requirement of the students, definitely I will be taken the position if it is required. Okay, that is answer for that one. And next, no, the videos are the good question, which is he has, she has asked, he or she. Then it's a every week we are uploading the recordings. Every week we are uploading the recordings. It's more or less it's a Saturday or Sunday, not in the weekdays, but probably it's a target to the release the videos on Saturday. Then every week there are videos. It's not a one video, it's not a one recording. Then it's based on the sub areas. Then the relevant videos will be uploaded. Then the timelines are fixed, and whether you have watched the recordings and all. Then we also have the which is the track records. Then therefore the every week the recordings will be uploaded. It's not only one recording, it's covering a particular area, sub areas of the subject. Then it's containing the theory explanations as well as for every part the related questions. Other than the questions what we are discussing under live sessions, other than the questions, the recorded questions, I'm discussing with you the Patrice questions. As Patrice question, the recorded questions are there. Other than that, each and every part of the areas what I'm discussing, the questions are there. It's a weekly recordings are going. And I'm 100% which is visible in your LMS. And once the recordings and everything, it has uploaded or everything happened, I'm the person who is looking it on first. Then I have entire the update on the LMS. Then for last time, even the students are telling this has not then I'm the person who is giving the part to them. And even the open the zip folders and look at on that and tell this is the tute which is available. Then ask anything. I'm okay from that because I'm also checking everything and my team is there. Then they are helping for everything in a particular manner. Then you can ask anything. All of you all can ask anything on the LMS matters directly from me. Then I'm aware on these things and also the team is 100% aware and they will support. Any questions? Anything to answer? Okay. Then from next week, not next, from this week, Saturday, the session will be started. The session will be started from this Saturday onwards. Okay. Seems to be all good. Or shall I need to wait for further your questions? Okay. Then it seems to be no further questions are there. Then let me wind up the session. And as the questions asked from this week onwards, we are starting the releasing of the videos and the tutorials and all the things. And the after completing first 40%, I'm taking into consideration of the live sessions. The live sessions, it will be communicated to you all prior. It is starting 1 week, 2 week before. It is the communicating through the WhatsApp group as well as the Telegram group, and be active in the groups. You all, as I have mentioned, you all can ask any questions from us. Then we are in step forward to answer your any questions. Okay. With this, I can stop the session and wish all the very best for you all on your upcoming examination and and the very importantly, I need to tell you, don't forget on the open book referential policy. And don't forget on your syllabus. And don't forget that you have to write the more and more answers, then not the number crunching. Don't expect to be a number crunchers in this paper. If so, you are going to fail. You should be strategically think and you have to apply for the given scenario. As you are the problem solver, you are the advisor, you are the consultant. Then have in that prestige position, and we will start the session by this week. And let me wind up the session. Thank you very much.